The first strike, the colony of New Horizon floated quietly on the edge of human space. Its twin moons glowed softly in the night sky, casting silver light over fields, rivers, and small towns. Life here was slow and peaceful, far from the politics and wars of the core worlds. Children played in the streets, merchants sold fresh bread and fruit, and miners returned from the asteroid belts with tired smiles. Captain Elias Ward of the Colony Guard stood watch on the central tower. He had seen many nights like this, calm, clear, and uneventful, but this night, something felt different. The stars above seemed wrong. One by one, points of light vanished behind something large and dark. At first, Elias thought it was just the moons moving. Then he saw the shape, massive, sharp, and glowing with faint red lines. Without warning, the colony's defense sensors began to scream. Dozens of alien warships broke from the darkness, sliding into orbit like predators. They were shaped like blades, their hulls black as deep space. The Krith Dominion had arrived. Every human child had heard stories of the Krith, a ruthless, warrior species that conquered without mercy, but no one expected them to come here. To a small, quiet colony, a transmission cut through every com signal. The voice was deep, cold, and carried no emotion. This world now belongs to the Krith Dominion. Surrender immediately or face destruction. In the colony's control center, Governor Leanne stood frozen for a moment. She knew the colony's defense fleet was small, only a handful of patrol ships and one aging cruiser. Still, she sent her answer. This is human territory. We will not surrender. The Krith reply came instantly. So be it. High above, beams of plasma fire cut through the black sky. The colony's orbital platforms exploded in bright bursts of flame. Human patrol ships rose to meet the enemy but were torn apart within minutes. One by one, pieces of burning wreckage fell toward the planet's surface. The sound of distant explosions rolled across the cities. Windows shattered, alarms blared, and panic spread through the streets. On the ground, Krith dropships screamed through the atmosphere. They landed in the central square, their armored ramps slamming down. Black armored soldiers poured out, their clawed boots striking the stone with a metallic echo. They carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. The people of New Horizon had never seen such soldiers before. Tall, reptilian, their eyes glowing with yellow fire. The Krith did not speak. They moved with cold precision, planting their banners and securing buildings. Anyone who resisted was struck down without hesitation. Families ran, clutching children, but the streets were blocked by armored vehicles. From her office window, Governor Leanne watched helplessly as the enemy flag was raised over the heart of her city. Captain Elias tried to rally his remaining guards. They fought bravely in the market square, using whatever cover they could find. But the Krith were too many. Energy blasts lit up the night as one defender after another fell. Within hours, the colony guard was gone. Only smoke and silence remained. The Krith commander stood on the steps of the central hall. His voice boomed across the captured city. This world is now part of the Krith Dominion. Your lives will be spared if you obey. Resist, and you will be destroyed. The crowd stood in fear, no one daring to speak. But somewhere in that silence, a seed of defiance was planted. Far away, in the deep heart of human space, a distress signal left New Horizon. It carried the images of burning streets, destroyed ships, and the black banner of the Krith. It carried the message of a people under attack. And it carried a truth the Krith did not yet understand. When you strike at humanity, you never face just one colony, you face them all. The Krith thought they had started a war. They had no idea what war really was. Humanity unites deep beneath the snowy peaks of the Himalayas. The United Earth Council met in a secure war chamber. The air inside was heavy, thick with the tension of leaders who knew the galaxy was watching. Admirals, generals, scientists, and representatives from every human colony sat around a massive round table of black steel. At the center, a holoprojection of New Horizon played. On repeat, burning streets, destroyed ships, terrified faces. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, President Rako Tanaka rose to her feet. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with cold fire. They came into our territory without warning, she said. They murdered our people, planted their flag, and believe we will kneel. She let the silence hang for a moment. They are wrong. Admiral Marcus Hale leaned forward, his voice deep and steady. I have fought the Krith before. They respect only strength. He tapped the table, bringing up a map of human space. Red markers showed every Krith fleet movement in the last year. They think we are scattered. They think we are weak. It is time to show them the truth. The fleet marshal stood next. A tall figure in a dark blue uniform. She placed a small data crystal on the table. The walls of the chamber lit up with schematics of massive warships. Project Iron Horizon, she said. The plan was simple. Build the largest human armada in history and take the fight to the Krith homeworld. Across the solar system, the order went out. On Mars, the great orbital shipyards lit up with activity. Steel frames of dreadnoughts grew like giants in the black void. Robotic arms welded armor plates thicker than battleship hulls. On Luna, underground forges poured molten alloys into weapon systems never before used in combat. In the asteroid belt, hidden manufacturing stations activated, producing missile batteries by the millions. Everywhere, humanity worked. Engineers, pilots, and scientists abandoned rest and worked around the clock. Old war veterans came out of retirement. Rookies volunteered for service in numbers never seen before. Even civilian ships were converted into carriers and supply vessels. Humanity had been divided by politics for years. Now, for the first time in generations, they stood united under a single cause. 3 weeks later, the solar system was transformed. Docked in low Earth orbit, Mars orbit, and scattered through deep space were warships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. 700,000 dreadnought-class vessels, each armed with enough firepower to tear apart a moon. Their hulls were painted black with a single silver star, the symbol of a united humanity. The galaxy noticed. Allied races sent messages urging restraint. You cannot win, some said. The Krith have ruled for centuries. Others pleaded, stand down, or they will destroy you. But the United Earth Council sent only one reply, a set of numbers. The coordinates of the Krith throne world, on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable. Fleet Marshal Soren stood with her hands clasped behind her back. She looked out at the formation of ships stretching across the black. Her voice carried through every vessel in the fleet. This is not a war for territory. This is not a war for power. This is for every life they took, every home they burned, every flag they tore down. This is for New Horizon. Engines roared to life. Hyperspace gates flared with blinding light. One by one, the massive dreadnoughts vanished into the dark. They were not going to negotiate. They were going to end this. The Krith thought humans would take the blow and retreat. Instead, humanity was coming for them. Asterisk. The war they didn't expect. The Krith throne world of Dravik Prime hung in the darkness like a black jewel. Its surface glimmered with cities of silver towers and glowing shields. For centuries, no enemy fleet had ever dared to enter this system. The Krith believed it was untouchable. From his high balcony in the Imperial Citadel, Supreme Overlord Xerix watched the skies. Reports from his admirals were confident. The human fleet was far away, scattered, unprepared. The Krith believed they had months before humans could respond. They were wrong. Without warning, the air around Dravik Prime began to ripple. Sensors across the planet lit up with alarms. At first, a few blips appeared. Massive energy signatures, bursting out of hyperspace. Then more arrived. Dozens, hundreds, thousands. The sky filled with human dreadnoughts. Wave after wave emerged until the entire horizon was nothing but black and silver hulls. 700,000 warships stood in perfect formation. The defense fleet scrambled to respond. Their battle stations roared to life, launching hundreds of cruisers and destroyers. Planetary cannons turned toward the human fleet and fired. Beams of energy streaked across space. But the human shields absorbed the impact like rain on steel. Then the humans fired. Gravity lances tore through Krith ships, ripping them apart in seconds. Dark matter torpedoes hit planetary shields, making them flicker and collapse. Railgun fired shells the size of houses, punching holes through battleships as if they were paper. In minutes, the once proud Krith defense fleet was nothing but burning wreckage drifting above their homeworld. Panic spread through the cities. Civilians ran through the streets as explosions shook the ground. In the Imperial Citadel, Overlord Xerix demanded to speak to the human commander. No answer came. The humans moved in silence, their fleets encircling the planet like a steel cage. The flagship Indomitable descended into low orbit. Its shadow fell across the Imperial Citadel. On every Krith channel, a single human voice spoke, calm and steady. This is for New Horizon. Then the final strike began. Precision bombardments, targeted military strongholds, command centers, and orbital shipyards. Human weapons tore apart the Krith war machine, piece by piece. The planet's great spires collapsed into clouds of dust. The Imperial banner was burned from the sky. By the time the bombardment stopped, the Krith dominion was finished. Their fleets were gone, their armies shattered. The humans did not occupy the planet, they simply turned and left. No demands, no treaties, no negotiation. The message was clear: attack humanity, and you will be destroyed, across the galaxy. Rulers and warlords whispered the name Earth with new fear. Stories of the battle spread faster than light. The image of 700,000 dreadnoughts blotting out the sky became legend. And in the halls of human history, the day was remembered not for conquest, but for justice. Back on New Horizon, the survivors rebuilt their homes. In the center of the colony, a new monument stood, a tall column of black stone. At its base was a simple plaque. It read, "In memory of those we lost, and in honor of those who came for us." Children played in its shadow, laughing under the same twin moons that had once watched the Krith invasion. The galaxy would never forget. The Krith had tried to wage war on humans. But they learned too late. Humanity does not start wars, it ends them.